just like Thursday, the boat in trouble. This time, Nomura was able to wriggle off the hook with 1:30 to go, and now they hold a favored position.
We're not going to have it. They go to it, so we can hide.
Game here is to get up to full speed. KR makes his move first, and he'll be going faster when the gun goes off.
Go down below the line. 20. 17. 14. 13. 4, 3, 2, 1, done.
Another clean start and another good job by Dylan Bob.
Hi there. How's it going? I'm going to tell a little story here today. I'm going to wait and see if anybody shows up to hear it. I think I'm going to explain is what you're looking at here is the entrance to the Portland ship channel. I'm going to take myself off the screen so you can see the chart. I'll point out what you're looking at. What you're seeing here is the view of Portland, Maine, looking up that chit channel. Hey, trees. Glad to see you here. So let's see. I'll make myself disappear and you can have a good look at that apartment building. And that's on the very tip of the Eastern Promenade in Portland. We're looking right up the ship channel, and well, there's a boat coming in from the right-hand side of the screen right now. Guess they're headed into town or something. Anyway, hey, Sterling Nash. Good to see you. People starting to come in here. Rather enjoying this. This is going to be a stream that ain't serious. Matter of fact, it's going to be just a little bit of Maine humor. A little bit of storytelling. It's an old one. It's an old story. Somewhat inspired by the fact that my friend Tony Paca has a boat. It's a very successful boat in the J24 class. Tony has been to many a world championship. I always run into him at all these weird places. He's down in Annapolis, Maryland. He's from South Freeport, Maine. I've known him for many, many years. He's a fierce competitor and a great guy. Name of his boat is Bangor Packet. And the name of the boat was inspired by this story that I'm going to tell. And I hope I get it right. I hope I don't crack up laughing halfway through because it always makes me chuckle. I just want to illustrate that as curmudgeonly as I may look and sometimes act, I have a sense of humor. So anyway, Ember's here. So good to see you. So good to see you. Rochelle, I see you're in the chat. Trees is here. Sterling Nash is here. Yeah. So here we are on the coast of Maine, and what better to do than relate the story? And it's a story about a young fellow years ago who was running for election. He's running for selectman up to Buckport. I know it's spelled Bucksport, but many people call it Buckport for whatever reason. Once upon a time, there was well, we'll get there. So like I said, this fellow was running for selectman. And he was out there knocking on doors as one does, trying to meet the folks. And he went to this farmhouse, went up the driveway, saw the tractor was in the yard, saw the truck was in the yard. He knew someone was at home, so he walked up to the door and knocked on the door, and he said, gentleman opens the door. This young fella says to the farmer, well, hello there. My name's Staff Soul. I'm running for selectman, and I appreciate it if you'd consider me and possibly give me your vote. Farmer looks at him, looks him up and down, looks around, says to the young fellow, Staff Soul, eh? Soul. You related to that Windsor soul that been around here for quite some time? Young fellow says, why, yes. Matter of fact, I am. He's my uncle. Farmer says, well, that's too bad, son. I can't give you my vote. I'm going to tell you why. You see, about 15 years ago, I had a mule. And that mule was the finest beast of burden I ever owned. One day that mule was feeling poorly, had the colic or some blame thing. Not sure what it was. So I called the veterinary. The veterinary comes up, says, oh yes, your mule has a digestive problem. And he says to the veterinary, Doc, what can you do for her? Veterinary says, well, I have this infusion that you can give that mule, and it'll be a little messy. But what you got to do is you take what I'm going to give you here, this solution, and administer this solution to the mule. Now you're going to need a funnel because you're going to need to administer the medication to the mule through the back passage. I says, the veterinary, well, that shouldn't be a problem. What do you suggest? He said, well, you got a funnel? Something like that. I says to the veterinary, yeah, I got something. Might work. Ain't sure, but we'll give it a whirl. You just leave that package off and leave it to me. Well, I hunted around the barn. I hunted around the house. I couldn't find nothing but an old army bugle. But I figured that bell there, well, I can put that bugle right to her, right to that hind quarter right there, and possibly administer this potion that the veterinary gave me that way. So I went and got that bugle, and I went out the barn. And that poor animal was suffering. And I tried to calm it down just as much as I could. Kind of snuck up on her. Started stroking her flanks and stroking her neck, stroking her flank. And eventually I got around to that hind quarter there, and I took that bugle and that potion, and I put that bugle right in that mule's asshole. Well, mule didn't much like that. Then I administered the medication veterinary had given me, and why, that mule just started to pace, shuffle. Eventually, that mule just lit out, busted right through the barn door, headed down the drawbridge, down the road towards the drawbridge. Goes over to Verona Island. Why, that mule was making quite a racket. That mule was hooting and hollering and just making a racket like you wouldn't believe. Just kind of sounded like this. Making a racket and a mell of a hess, like we like to say around here, because we don't like to use them, foul language. Well, that mule was getting close, getting down the road, headed for that bridge. Just going. Now, your uncle at the time was the bridge keeper. And when your uncle heard my mule approaching, well, your uncle thought it was the Bangor Packet coming up the Penobscot River, headed upstream towards Bangor. So he proceeded to open that drawbridge. My mule was headed straight for the bridge. Well, nothing gonna stop that animal. She built up a head of steam. As that bridge opened up, that mule ran up the drawbridge and took a leap, wounded right in the middle of the Penobscot River and drowned. And son, I got to tell you, any fella got an uncle can't tell the difference between a mule with a bugle up its ass and the Bangor Packet. Don't get my vote. So staff had walked away disappointed. And that's the end of the story of the Bangor Packet. All right. So, yeah, good to see me streaming again. Well, all right. I just wanted to say something silly, not get serious, and just have some fun this afternoon. I don't know if anybody wants to join. Anybody got a story they want to tell? Well, come on up. It's got to be funny. You know. I don't know. I'm feeling silly today. It's a Saturday, as you can see. It's a fairly lovely day. It's kind of cold. It's so cold there aren't any seagulls flying around in back of me. No. No, no, no. Jeez. I guess that went over like a lead balloon as far as the chat's concerned. Holy smokes. All right, you know what I'm going to do? Ember says she's got a story. She's got something to say. So I'm going to just sort of, I'm going to drop this here. Let's see, and guests. Let's see what we can do here. I'm going to drop this link anyway. I'll put it in the chat here. Anybody, this is dangerous. Never know what we're going to get here, but anybody comes by, there's the link to Talk Studio. Anybody wants to come on up here and share a bit of humor. As bad as that was, you got to have something better. And here's Ember.
Hello.
Hey, lady. How's it going this afternoon?
Oh, I'm in a lot of pain.
You're in a lot of pain.
Yeah. Today was laser day, and I'm finally up to the maximum setting.
Oh my goodness. Have I got this? Yeah, I do. I have this. I gotta mute the thing so you don't get all the stuff. Yeah, all right, go ahead.
All right, so I have like a ridiculous amount of stupid stories, but they're all locked in my head, and I need like some kind of inspiration to like make me think of them. But your story did make me think of one.
Does it involve a mule and a bugle up its ass?
Unfortunately, no. Not every story can be so well endowed. It's this little kid. He's going to school. He's doing his chores. He's a generally good little kid. And then one day he gets his hands on a magazine, and he opens the magazine, and he's doing just like his teacher told him. He's sounding out his words, and finally comes across one that he just doesn't know. So he brings it to the teacher, and he says, "Hey, teacher, what is this word? I don't know that word." And the teacher looks and slaps him across the face and sends him to the principal's office. And what the hell, right? Just asking the question the way people said you should ask. So he goes to the principal's office, and the principal goes, "What are you here for? And why do you have a hand mark across your face?" And the kid says, "Well, he explains, I found this magazine and I'm reading through and I got to this one word and I don't know what it means. And I asked the teacher and he just hit me and sent me here." The principal goes, "Well, that's not right. Our teachers, we have ethical standards and there's laws. Teachers can't just do that. And I will surely reprimand him. But first, why don't you show me what that word was?" So the kid opens up the magazine and flips to the page and goes down and he finds the word. And the principal looks at it and slaps the kid across the other cheek and calls his parents. Well, of course, his dad's working all the time, so his mom has to come get him. And his mom picks him up, and the principal says, you need to do something about that boy. And the mother takes him home and is like, "What the hell was that all about?" And so he explains the story again. He says, "I found this word and I did like the teacher said and asked, and I showed the teacher and he hit me and sent me to the principal. And then the principal said, 'Show me the word.' So I showed him and he hit me and called you." And the mother is furious. "This is unacceptable. How dare they strike my child? What the fuck? But first, I'm really curious what this word is." So the kid, he's a little hesitant now. He's like, I don't know. Everybody I've shown this to has hit me. And she goes, "I promise, honey, I won't hit you. I have never hit you. I would never strike a child." So he pulls out the magazine and he finds a page and he goes down the page and he finds the word and he shows her. And she hits him, sends him to his room. "Wait until your father gets home."
Oh, no.
So he's sitting in his room thinking about what is he supposed to do? People keep asking. He's not even asking what the word means anymore, but they keep asking what happened. He can't lie to them, but they always want to see the word and then they hit him. And he's in dread and terror until his father comes home. And his dad says, "Why is your mother so furious?" And he explains, "I found this word in this magazine article. And I asked the teacher, 'What does this word mean?' And instead of telling me, the teacher hit me." And Dad says, "Well, that's just not right. What happened next?" So he goes on and says, "Well, the teacher sent me to the principal's office. And the same thing happened with the principal. I showed him the word and he hit me and called Mom." He goes, "Well, this is outrageous. No wonder your mom is so pissed. But why are you in your room?" "Well, Mom wanted to know what the word was. So I showed her and she hit me and sent me here to wait until you get home." And Dad goes, "Well, that doesn't sound like your mother at all. She would never hit a child. What is this word?" And he goes, "Oh, no. I don't want to show you. Nope, we're not doing that." Well, Dad being Dad and this being a small child, he ends up having to show him the word. So he pulls out the magazine one more time. It's getting all wrinkled up now. And he finds the page and he goes down the page and he finds the word and he shows his father. And his father beats him within an inch of his life with a belt and kicks him out of the house.
Holy shit.
So, this kid, he has a pretty rough life. He decides he's never going to mention this fucking magazine article and the word ever again. But he grows up homeless. He has a rough go of it. Finally, he grows up and gets himself a construction job. And then one day, he's talking to a coworker. And he just happens to explain, as one does when you're talking to coworkers, "Oh, yeah, I was homeless for most of my life." And his coworker says, "Well, why is that?" And he ends up telling him the story. And so, they're sitting there at the construction site, sitting on some bricks, having their lunch break. And he tells him the story. He says, "I found this word in this magazine article. And I did what the teacher said and asked the teacher, 'What does this word mean?' And instead of telling me, the teacher hit me and sent me to the principal. And then the principal, instead of telling me, hit me and called my mom. And then my mom, instead of telling me, hit me and told me to wait for my dad. And then my dad beat the shit out of me. And I still don't even know what this freaking word means." And the coworker goes, "Do you happen to by chance remember what the word is?" And he goes, "Oh, no. We're not doing it. Nope. And his coworker says, "Listen, you're bigger than me. Even if I tried to get violent, you could kick my ass. I promise. I will tell you what the word means." And so he pulls out that old magazine page because it changed his life. He still carries it with him. He's never going to forget. And he carefully opens the paper and he unfolds it and lays it out real smooth. And he runs his finger down the page and he points out the word. And his coworker goes, "Oh, sure. I know what that word means. It'll take a minute to explain though. Would you mind running and going and grabbing us extra sandwiches from the Subway across the street?" And so he runs over and he goes across the street, Subway. "Oh, well, I'm going to find out what the word means finally. Holy shit." And he didn't even try to attack me. He's just going to tell me. It's the best day ever. He gets the sandwiches. He starts back across the street and he's hit by a bus. So how are things in Maine?
I guess fine.
That is the longest joke I know, and it's my favorite because it's a joke on the audience.
Yeah. Want to hear a good knock joke?
Sure.
You start.
Knock, knock.
Who's there? There you go. That's an easy one.
Yeah, I'm like, I haven't read the script.
Yeah. Anybody else? Come on now. We got it. Yeah. I think we're gonna have to get the mule's ass going here again. I don't know. It's like, yep. Yep, that's it, man. Here we are. How are things in New York?
Very snowy.
Really?
So my appointment for my laser was at 11:20. I left at 9:30 and I was a minute late when I got there. And when I left there, I drove straight home. And I just got back a little while ago. I'm like, oh, my whole damn day. Not my whole day, obviously, but Jesus Christ. The shit we do
I
for
never
beauty.
did the laser thing, but when people will tell me that it's rather like getting hit by a bus.
Especially the upper lip.
Oh, well.
Like they do my face and then they do my chest, which is fine because after every single pulse from that laser, it's like the photons are a truck and they're just boom, boom, right into your, oh my goodness. I'm like, how do I even still have follicles to get hit? Like, why? Just why? I blame Yahweh. This is his shitty design.
Well, that's true. Body hair was not my problem at all, ever. I never had any. I'm good like that. So the only issue for me was, and back in the day, there was no such thing really. I mean, laser was in its infancy, so the whole thing was electro. So one hair at a time, one little follicle at a time, going zzz, zzz.
Yeah, and the worst part is I may still have to do that because the laser doesn't always kill a follicle. Sometimes it just like damages its ability to make color. And so you have a live follicle that's still growing hairs, but there's no color. I mean, I'm fine with gray and whatnot. That's not a big deal. But I don't like thick, coarse hairs that are eventually going to turn into a beard. So I may have to do something about that at some point.
Yeah, well, but you're right. The upper lip is the worst. It's really, really bad.
So many follicles in such a tight space.
Well, and it's a very sensitive little spot. There are other sensitive spots too, but we won't talk about those.
Yeah, that's a ways down.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a ways down.
It is a ways down. Yeah. So yeah, it's like, all right. So it would appear that our chat has gone to sleep. And please, everybody,
They don't want to say how
let's-
mad they are about my joke. They're like,
yeah.
I'm-
Well,
I'm-
it's like,
now I'm gonna hit you, Ember.
yeah, right. Don't mind us talking about hair removal, because that's kind of a joke too in some respects. I mean, you got to have a little sense of humor when you do this kind of crazy stuff,
Uh-huh.
but they figured it out over time and all works good. So I'm gonna pin this here. I'm gonna pin this link if anybody wants to come in, and this is not a serious stream. We are not here talking about religion. We are not here talking about the news. We are not here talking about anything. We are talking about humor, and I can't think of another humorous thing right at the moment. I figured the Bangor Packet would take up time, but
Well, it's done.
and the
some.
bus took up time, so that was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, we're at half an hour, and we can. I mean, you never know what might. I did think of another long one that actually does
good.
have a real punchline, but it's extremely inappropriate. And
Okay.
I'm not sure we can do that one on YouTube. Although I did get the joke
Does it involve
from a
feet?
pastor. It does not.
Okay.
So back in the day, I was in Boy Scouts, as one does, and we were out on
Never
a
did
camping
that.
trip. We were out on a camping trip in the middle of the damn woods, and one kid, he did some weird shit. I don't know. He used a can opener wrong and almost cut his thumb off. And so he had to go. And because we were way the fuck out in the woods, one of the other leaders had to take him. And they had to go like get his thumb sewn back on and shit. So that left just 2 scoutmasters, which is enough to chaperone each other, but not really enough to mind the whole fucking tribe. So
Mhm.
one of the other older kids got deputized.
What do they call them? Troops. They call them troops, right?
Yep. Oh shit.
Yeah.
I even remembered my troop number because I was actually in scout
Oh,
when I was a little kid, and then later in high school, one of my friends bullied me into it because I was doing every fucking extracurricular there was. But I digress. So me and this other guy, who happens to be the friend who bullied me into it, we got deputized as assistant scoutmasters.
uh-huh.
All the littler kids, because anybody who's not familiar, Girl Scouts, you're all the same age and you progress together. In Boy Scouts, everybody's a different age, and the older kids are supposed to teach the younger kids shit. In theory, and that way the troop keeps going basically forever. In theory.
They call a bunch of baboons is called a troop too.
Yes, it's very fitting.
Mhm.
Flinging poop at each other and whatnot, So after all the little kids are in bed, we're sitting around the campfire, and the senior scoutmaster, who is a pastor, he's been sipping a little bit. He's a little smoothed out, shall we say. And he goes, I probably shouldn't tell this joke with y'all under 18 sitting here, but I know you can keep a secret. Now, when a pastor says, I know you can keep a secret, it is not going to a good place.
No.
So he finally gets around to actually telling the joke. And so now I also will finally get around to actually telling the joke. And he says, so there was this, these couple teenagers, couple 16-year-olds, boyfriend and girlfriend. And they were supposed to have a date, but the girlfriend's parents says, hey, we're going out. You're watching your 2 little sisters. Good luck. And, as parents often do. And so she calls up her boyfriend. She's like, I can't come. My parents stuck me with babysitting my little sisters. And the boyfriend says, oh, well, that's no problem. I can just bring my little brothers over and we can watch them together. And she's like, oh, would you do that? That's so sweet. And so they, that's what they do. And so they sit the kids down, get them watching TV. Half an hour goes by, something like that. And they're like, we could probably sneak off. And the littler ones wouldn't even notice. And so they do. And off they go to her room. Well, after a little while later, the middle kids, the 14-year-olds, they notice and they go, where the fuck did they go? So they go find their older siblings who are naturally in the older girl's room, and they hear some funny noises. So they creak open the door and they see what they're up to, and they go, holy shit. And they look at each other and they go, that looks like a lot of fun. I bet we could do that. Well, the sisters all share a bedroom and the bedroom's taken. So where are they going to go try that? Well, they figure the two littlest kids, they're so distracted by the TV show, they could probably try it out. And as long as they're quiet, the little ones won't notice. So they start going at it behind the couch. Well, a little while later, the little ones go, what the fuck are these weird noises coming from behind the couch? And they look back and they see what their older siblings are doing. And they go, huh, that looks like a lot of fun. I bet we could do that. And very unwholesome things ensue.
I see.
Yes. So about that time.
Very unscoutly, you might say.
Precisely. So about that time, the older boy pulls out of his girlfriend and blood everywhere, as often happens. And he goes, whoa, what the fuck is this? And she goes, oh, don't worry about it. It's just my cherry popping. Perfectly natural. Well, okay, everything's fine. Apparently, it's all hunky-dory. Well, a little while later.
Wow, this went in a weird direction.
Right? A little while later, the 14-year-olds, the boy pulls out, blood everywhere. What the fuck is happening? Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We learned about this in sex ed. It's just my cherry popping. It's just my hymen. Oh, okay. Well, as long as it's supposed to happen and everything is fine, apparently. Well, a little while later, the youngest pulls out and it's covered in this weird green slime. And he goes, what the absolute fuck? And the girl looks down and sees that there's green slime. And she goes, oh, I guess that cherry isn't quite ripe yet. We're going to get demonetized.
Demonetized? This channel's not monetized at all. Thank God you
canceled.
Jesus. Well, you can clip that out. So Tsunami is filling us in here on the Girl Scout issue. Girl Scouts start as brownies, which I knew that because my third grade classmate Barbara always wished that we had been brownies together, which I found out later on in life, which I always thought was rather amusing. But then move on onto actual Girl Scouts. If they pass each year, you can get stuck with girls outside your actual age if you don't progress to Girl Scout. How about that? Imagine that works the same way with Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts too.
Yes, that is true. I remember when I was like, whatever the fourth level of Cub Scout is, Wolf Scout, or it's been a long time. But if you don't
it's Fox. I know this. It's Fox, Bear, Wolf, and then Webelos. Which is the one just before the Boy Scout deal.
The Webelos wobble, but they don't fall down.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently. Now, there's also an organization that I think is part of the whole Masonic thing. Like there are Rainbow Girls, and then they become part of the Order of the Eastern Star, as I recall. That's another sort of weird thing, and I don't know the boys' equivalent. So, yeah.
I don't know if there is a boys equivalent, because a lot of times these organizations that are over 100 years old, they don't get founded with the intent of there being one version for one sex and one version for another sex. They just make a group for a sex, and then, well, tough shit, everybody else. That's why Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts operate so very differently, because they're not two wings of the same thing. They were made independently.
Yeah, but you know, the Masons are, I think the Masons are still male only to be an actual Mason. And then there's the Order of the Eastern Star, which is for the ladies. I think that's the way that works. But you know, the Masons are older and dirt, and of course they're part of the Illuminati.
It's true. It's true.
You know, we need anybody who's part of the Illuminati is welcome to come on stream and illuminate us somehow or another, or tell Mason jokes. I mean, I don't know. Are there Mason jokes, or are they all that serious? I mean, you got all the weird apron things and the secret handshakes and all of that stuff.
Okay, so it looks like the Masons have 3 youth groups. There's the International Order of the Rainbow for Girls, and then there's Job's Daughters, which is an inspiring name.
Well, let's see.
What could possibly go wrong?
How long do they last? Does the good Lord take them away sometime or another? I mean, like, do you wind up having to sit on an ash heap or something? I mean,
yeah. And then the
you
third
build
group,
a campfire, you put it out, and then you sit in the ashes, and you get covered with boils. Sold cookies while the boys sold candy or pizza. Wow, Jesus, look at this.
oh yeah, they were doing like popcorn and shit. It's like, you're never gonna outsell the cookies. It's never gonna happen.
Oh, yeah.
Not with fucking popcorn. Not with old. It's not even popcorn you can pop yourself. It's pre-popped popcorn, so it's already old and halfway to stale. Like, no one wants your smelly, stale popcorn. What are you doing? The third group is called Demole International, and that's explicitly for men.
What's the other one?
Demole International.
Oh, Demole. Oh, Demole. Yeah. I forgot all about that. I'm handsome and I'm charming. I belong to Demole. I'm gonna go and man to get my status back today. That's a Frank Zappa tune called "Status Back Baby." In case anybody's looking for it, of course, I would play it. But get a copyright strike, and that would suck. I don't really need a copyright strike. I'm not worried about demonetization. After all, Amber's last little joke there would take care of that. But
I mean, technically, there's nothing against
she's
TOS
so
in there.
mean.
It's true. I'm
She's
the worst.
So mean. You have no idea, people, what we have to deal with over on the transpositions, because Amber's so mean. By the way, I just want to tell everybody over here, please, the transpositions made it to 500 subbies. Thank you all. Woohoo! Now what we need are watch hours. So get those watch hours going, and we'll be in a roll. Be happening. Almost like store-bought, almost like stuff. But really, seriously, we appreciate that. The ever-living daylights out of all you people that know me from there, people that know me from here and there, and all of us. That little endeavor is the serious endeavor for a lot of us at this point in time, while we keep our other stuff going on. Talking about over here, I don't do much. I haven't had the motivation to get my channel rolling and rocking for a while. But my life's been kind of in a whirl. But
It's true. How are things with that? Are things a bit more stable, predictable, happy, wholesome, warm?
not really.
Oof.
Things are pretty precarious for me. I'm still working on that. But got January's rent paid, thankfully.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
we'll see where
there's
it
always
goes.
the option of turning to piracy, grabbing a boat, and heading to the Caribbean.
Piracy, yes, that would. Yeah, that would be good.
I mean, if we're gonna be outlaws in the U.S. anyway, we may as well,
Oh,
be professional outlaws.
yeah, you know what? I have been following the around the world race that's been going that's going on right now. Let me see if I can find.
All around the world, statues crumble from
They made it. The leaders have made it into the trades, which is really good. And they went through all kinds of hell to get there. There are a bunch of boats that are still in the Pacific and haven't gotten around the Horn yet, and that's kind of a drag. And the leaders are way ahead. I'm seeing if I can find anything on that.
So is this the Vendée Globe race?
Yeah, it's Vendée Globe. The Vendée Globe.
Okay.
And it's really fucking great. Let's see, Vendée Globe. Let me see if we got an update. Those boats are Amoca 60s, and they're single-handed, and they don't go upwind. Somebody joined.
Ooh, did we make a friend? They're tired
I
of
don't
us
know.
chatting and want to get back to the jokes.
Aha! Ladies and gentlemen, kids of all ages, believe what we have here is a tsunami. Hey, Sue. What up? Can't hear you.
We broke it.
We broke it.
Speaking of breaking things, I should probably take this opportunity to make sure I'm on the right fucking microphone. Okay, it looks all right.
Yeah, well, apparently Tsunami's not on any microphone. God damn it.
I did a whole show last week, and my audio pickup had reset itself to my freaking webcam, which is way over there.
In case you're wondering, Tsunami, how to adjust the microphone settings, if you down at the bottom where it says mute, there's a little up arrow and stuff, and that turns your mic on and off, and whatever your problem is at the moment. I mean, you're not muted here.
That's peculiar.
I don't know. I don't know if she's on her. I don't know as anyone's ever tried to be on a phone in here. But now she's muted. Now she's unmuted. No, she's not unmuted. Now she's unmuted, but we can't hear you. Dang. That sucks.
What if this is a roundabout sort of joke where the whole thing is just not actually saying anything?
Could be.
I mean, it's more likely to be technical difficulties, but it could be. Susan's back there going like, I'll show that fucking Ember. I'll just be like, I'm not saying anything. Haha.
You know that Tsunami is just sitting there cursing. Like wild strings of profanity. Just
make both of us sailors blush.
Yeah, something along those lines. I don't know. Oh yeah, Vendée Globe. Okay, Sail World, Vendée Globe. We're gonna just this is Charlie Dallin. Let's see. Well, stop. Go back. And share. I understand. Let's proceed. Vendée Globe. Let's do it.
None of the things want to work today.
I'm currently sharing my screen. There we go. Vendée Globe.
Yee.
It's Saturday, the 4th of January in the Vendée Globe, the skipper's 55th day at sea. And for Charlie Dallin and Johan Richomme, it is great news as they have finally reached those trade winds which will power them towards the equator and then on into the North Atlantic. For Dallin especially, it has been really advantageous as he has pulled the jump on Richomme by a little bit, which has pulled out a sizable lead over his opponent, which could prove decisive at the end of the day. In 4th and 5th place, Paul Milhat has caught right up to Thomas Rouillon. And there is a very interesting strategy that a few of you pointed out yesterday, that Justine Metreau has taken on the other side of a low pressure to this group between 6th and 10th place, and she may get the jump on Boris Herman and Sam Goodchild. And a little bit further back, Jean Le Cam has now rounded Cape Horn for the 7th time in a competitive race. We hear from Boris Herman, who is stuck a little bit too close to the centre of that low pressure system, then take a look at the tracker, the leaderboard, predict wind routing options, and also check in with Antoine Cornic, who is celebrating his birthday.
Random birthday update. I love it.
Oh, light winds, sloppy seas. Oh my goodness. Poor guy.
He's going to have a rough time.
Well, you can see the jib is
We are moving a little bit in the center of this low pressure, and it has been quite okay until an hour ago. Since an hour it's un peu n'importe quoi. I mean, look at these waves.
Yep.
This is a couple of meters wave height.
Yeah, I've been there, done that.
And
Sucks.
just very, very light wind.
Not in a multiple 60 of racing around the world, but definitely been there, done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's enough of that.
And then a big cloud that's announced on the radar.
It's weird that they let the one dude talk, but the first person they just talked right over.
Well, that's because the first person then was talking French.
Oh, right. We can't let those frogs. They might.
Well, I mean, you could, but
there's subtitles. There's translation. Like talk over it with an interpreter or something. I don't know. I'm probably silly.
I think our friend Sumani pissed off Sterling Nash somehow or another. I'm sorry, Sterling. What are I don't know.
I mean, it happens, but on the flip side, I have yet to see it happen without reason.
Well, Everybody pisses somebody off sometime.
Mm-hmm.
God only knows I have, and I usually
Yeah,
do my
yeah,
best to say I'm sorry.
yeah. Same.
Fuck.
I mean, I've had you mad at me. I've had Maya mad at me. I still have certain people mad at me.
I'm still pissed at you.
That damn
No,
joke.
I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Not at all. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's life. You cannot exist on the internet without doing or saying something stupid that pisses off someone at some point. The key, in my humble opinion, is to be aware of the fact you can, and then when someone says, "Hey, what you did right there was pretty shitty," then go apologize. Do
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. I don't know. We're trying to do something lighthearted. I'm really sorry that somebody got that there was a little bit of an issue here, but we'll try to do better.
Yeah, we do what we can.
Yeah.
I loved the weather on the French fella's camera. I was like, I'm so jealous. I want to be in that part of the globe.
Yeah,
It's
well,
so
the trees are
pretty.
nice. I mean, well, in order to get there, there were some low pressure systems in the South Atlantic by the Falkland Islands, and these boats don't go upwind. They just don't. They don't go upwind as well as most modern sailing vessels do, because they're not designed to. They're designed to go around go around the globe from around Antarctica. You basically go to the start. I think is at Sable d'Orléans, down the Atlantic, around Cape of Good Hope, through the Indian Ocean, into the Southern Ocean, and basically then around Cape Horn, and then back up and to Sable. And usually, you're never going upwind. I mean, the wind goes around Antarctica in a clockwise fashion, if you're looking at it. So once you get into the Southern Ocean, the wind is behind you, and the boats will go really fast. The boats will go like 20, 24, 25 knots. And so the roaring the roaring 40s are it roars. The wind is usually sustained 35 to 45. So, but if you're going 25, then the apparent wind is forward. So it's the boats are built for stability, but not for going upwind, I guess is what I'm saying. And so they'll tack through 80 degrees ish. I mean, not 80, yeah, 40 to 40. They which is pretty, and it's not anywhere near as close winded as San Etchells is, which is an unusually good weatherly boat. But anyway, they had a little bit of a struggle getting to the trades because their low pressure systems in South Atlantic were hitting them on the nosy, so they had to tack quite a bit. But again, there's a whole bunch of the fleet hasn't gone around Cape Horn yet. Now there was one of the boats got. I don't think it was dismasted. Yeah, it might have been dismasted and had to pull into Australia, Melbourne. she got herself into Melbourne. But there's at least one person I know that is doing this race. And she's a terrific, she's a French woman. She's a really, really kick-ass lady. And she's among the folks that are still in the Pacific, or the Southern Ocean, I should say.
Mm. There's a lot of ocean out there. It's wee, but yeah, it's so it's cool.
The Earth is misnamed,
right? You should have called it aqua with bits of
water.
Dirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out there was a great flood, and it's still here.
And it's still with us,
Yeah.
It's still. There's a friend of mine had who has done. Did he ever do a Monday? I'm not sure. And anyway, the name of his boat was Ocean Planet. He lives up here in Maine, and another really good guy. But not something I would do. That single-handed around the world, and even the boats are really neat. The cockpits are covered entirely, hard covered, and winches are, all of the controls are in there, so you're not out in the open 100% of the time, which would be not all that great.
Mm-hmm.
So,
especially when you don't know what kind of weather you're gonna find. It's a long trip.
Yeah, well, even in the Southern Hemisphere summer, which it just turned into, once you get into the latitudes close to Antarctica, it's cold and wet, and the seas, especially going around Cape Horn, are treacherous as hell. I mean, the currents there are nuts. Can't say that I've done that, and not on my bucket list, really.
Yeah, same.
Don't want to do that.
Although the capes reminded me of another joke, and I looked up the joke to make sure I get it right. It's not actually the capes. It's just I forget if it's Horn or Good Hope or whatever, but Africa. It made me think of this.
Africa
this other
is
long
Good
one.
Hope.
Okay. So there was once this wasp that lived in the jungle, as one does. And this is not your ordinary wasp, though. He was a smart, philosophical, even wasp, a distinguished individual within the hive of drones and whatnot. One day, he finally got fed up with his repetitive, insignificant life, which is relatable.
As a wasp.
Yes, and decided he would leave his hive, his family, his entire close-knit wasp community, and he would go out into the world and make something of himself, just like the humans do. So the wasp, he left, he enrolled in school, he passed with flying colors. Remember, this is a very smart wasp, so he gets his high school diploma in a little under 3 years with a 4.0 GPA. After high school, believe it or not, he gets accepted into Harvard. This, too, proves to be no challenge, as he graduates in just 2 years. He also has an extra...
You know that Harvard was founded by wasps.
I've heard that rumor, yes.
Yeah.
But he's a very long-lived wasp. He graduates in just 2 years. Again, with a 4.0, Dean's List, all the bells and whistles. Not to mention all the clubs and sports he was in, the newspaper, the rowing team, student government. And in fact, he was by far the most popular student on campus. A wasp that doesn't sting you is automatically popular, I reckon. He goes on.
It shows remarkable restraint.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, he goes on and he gets 2 PhDs, like our buddy Jay Bundy. And when he finally finishes, the wasp faces a bit of a dilemma. How does he apply his knowledge? Where does he go from here? So he decides to try out politics. After all, he was popular throughout school, did well in the student government, and so forth. So he runs for mayor and wins in a landslide. He greatly reforms the city, fixing virtually all the problems, all the potholes and the homelessness and the drug addiction, all the things. He fixes it all. Runs for governor. Again, wins in a landslide. 2 years later, the presidential election is coming up, and the WASP decides, may as well go for it. Of course, he wins in the largest landslide in United States presidential history. His presidency goes exceedingly well. He's loved by both parties, has the highest approval ratings, builds the biggest statue. No, that's somebody else. He also finds cures for AIDS, cancer, and broken hearts while in the White House. After 8 years, because of course he's reelected, the time has come for him to leave office. Even his successor is saddened by his departure, but they all know it's what must be done. So back at his vacation home in California, his first day after leaving office, the WASP looks back on his long and fruitful life, and he realizes he hasn't been back to visit the hive at all since that first day he left. He suddenly feels a twang of guilt as he realizes how much he misses his parents and his little brother. So he heads back to the hive, looking more worn out than he remembers. He goes inside and greets his family, who are overjoyed at the sight of him. They're also very long-lived. It's genetic, you see. He talks about how his life is gone, and his family listens in wonder. They're captivated. But eventually, he gets thirsty. It is thirsty work telling long stories. I'm eyeballing my coffee right now. So he decides to visit. Yeah. He decides to visit the old watering hole that he remembered. Once he gets there, though, there's a long line. All the animals go to this watering hole. So he decides, what the hell? I'm thirsty. So he gets in the line. 1 hour, 2 hours. Why, this is the slowest moving line he's ever seen. Eventually, he uses his big brain and calculates that it could be days before he gets to the front of the line. So he decides it's just not worth it. So instead, he decides to go get some cider to drink. But what do you know? There's another long line waiting for the cider. So he remembers one other drinking area that never had a long line. It's the place where they serve the fruit punch. So he decides to go get punch. He arrives, and lo and behold, there's no punch line. Now that I've got everyone screaming for my death.
So Godless Granny's going to be live at hour here. So I don't have another. I'm trying to think of something funny. I can't think of anything funny. Yeah. So I'm going to drop the link to. Drop the link to Godless Granny's stream in here in case you all are looking for something to do at hour.
Yeah, Granny's planning a community chat, if I remember correctly.
Yes, indeedy. Let's see what's going on there.
Yeah.
More evangelize. We can do some more evangelizing, evangelizing among the atheists.
Absolutely. I mean, if the anti-humanist side of atheism is going to show up at the Christian nationalist bullshit, then it stands to reason that the extremely pro-humanist side should show up at the other atheist stuff, you know?
Well, you know, you are aware of the fact that evangel means good news, right? In Greek.
Hey, that's what I do.
Yeah, see, so you can be an evangelist too. You're just
Apparently,
all you're doing
I'm
is
a trans
spreading the good
evangelist.
news.
That's right.
Um,
I was going for a play on gospel, but yeah, I'll take that one too.
well, gospel is good news in German, in Germanic language, gospel, and evangel is good news in Greek.
All right.
So, and good news is good news in English. Last time I checked.
For now.
Yeah, well,
You never know.
yeah.
Yeah,
No
so
news is
yeah.
good news. No news is good news. At this point, I would say no news is good news for sure.
Considering, so yeah, the last time I did the show prior to this one, even though we had extra time because of the delay between shows, it was still like trying to find fucking buried treasure, to find even stories that could be spun to have a positive silver lining to them.
Yeah.
There's so much bad news.
Well, you know, it all depends on your point of view, I guess. You know, there are some people that think all of this is really great news.
Yeah.
Which, sadly, no. Good news for some, not so much for others.
Yeah. I was trying to low-key pre-gather some stories, and so far the only thing I've come across is that Sarah McBride got sworn in, but I have a hard time getting excited over that because while yay representation, you know, she's publicly stated she's not gonna fight for her own rights, let alone the rest of us.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. At some point, I don't know. I got my fingers crossed. I'm not very optimistic. I mean, I did have a. Now we're getting into the doom and gloom part of the program.
I think we're doing it backwards.
There was a call from a guy in Sweden who had who asked, oh, what do you think there is in the future for trans people? And I got a little gloomy about it. I said, well, really want to know? Actually, go back and listen to it. But on Takis, listen to, I think it was Isaac was the caller. And first I said, looks bleak. But given the fact that I was born in 1953, you want to talk about bleak. You know, it was pretty bleak for despite the fact that Christine Jorgensen hit the front page of the New York Times in that year. It was pretty bleak, and it's gotten so much better. I mean, you know, that there has been that progress, and I think, you know, from really very, very little understanding. I mean, Harry Benjamin was a recent emigre to the United States and had set up his practice in New York. And he was about the only guy almost in the world that was clued in. And his stuff was kind of iffy, especially in the early days, too. So there's been a lot of progress, not just for trans people, but for the LGBTQIA plus community throughout the ages. I mean, we lived through AIDS. We lived through if you're gay, you can't get a government job because you're a security risk. If you're, it was all mixed up as it is today with the Reds. That there was the Red Scare and the Lavender Scare. And if you're not familiar with the Lavender Scare, look that up and just Google it, and you'll figure out how intertwined they were. In those days, 50s and 60s and all of that, living through the 70s and look, women couldn't get a credit card in their own name until 72. So yeah, I mean, I have to say, the program now is to drag us all back there. I'm not sure people are going to be willing to be dragged back there. And honestly, we're going to have to do something about Roe, the court. We're going to have to do something somehow or another. I don't think people are going to stand for it much, but it is. I on the other hand, I do think it's going to be. I think it's going to be fucking miserable for. Pardon me, for a bit, and it doesn't make me happy. It's just really you wake up and go, really, really, seriously.
Mm-hmm. I know we're reaching the point where the Daily Show won't have everything is beyond parody. All of it. So you just wake up and go, this is fucking ridiculous. We live in a cartoon.
Yeah, well, I don't like this timeline. Don't like it.
If only we'd put our research into parallel dimensions instead of penis pills.
Yeah. I mean, pecker pills actually started out as an off-label use.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look.
Yeah. When it helps the old senator's diddle his mistress, then gender affirming care is okay. Holy shit! Off-label prescription, it's fine.
It started out as an off-label use. It's like, oh, look, and then, oh yeah, well, let's see what this is. We won't see. It's an ideology. Erectile dysfunction is an ideology, right there.
That's right.
Like,
God
damn
made
these erectile.
you.
I am fed up with erectile ideology.
These pastors need to stop pushing their erectile on kids.
Yeah, all these pharmaceuticals, big pharma's got it in. They're buying into the erectile ideology, and God, it's amazing. It's just not science. It's not science. It's not science. You think just because you think you can get it up. It's not biological, it's demonic. I hate this erectile ideology. We should. I don't know how to do a poll in this, but we ought to do a poll. Are you for or against erectile ideology?
Yeah, there's a couple of ways. You could do one in the chat, with a little plus button that's next to the chat on the YouTube side. Or you could do one on your channel with a community post.
Yeah, start a poll. Ask a question. Create a poll. Ask a question. What would the question be? Will you stand up for erectile ideology. There we go. Yes or no? We'll see how this goes.
Will you stand up, or do you need to take a pill for it?
Oh yeah, add option. I need a pill and a pecker. All right. Start poll. Here you go, folks. Let us know. Let's go. Come on. You can do it. Make it happen.
Do the thing. Push the buttons.
Do the thing all the way. I don't even know if we've got anybody watching the goddamn thing right now.
It YouTube says 8, but sometimes it lies.
Yeah, you never know. So look, we can get an even split. We can have need the pill and the pecker. We got all sorts of options here. See, we got back to humor somehow. It took something. Yeah. I don't know. All right. I don't even know. Yeah, the Bangor Packet. It's still going on. Yeah. 8 watching now. Look at that. Some humor. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, look. Appreciate the likes. Appreciate your, like, and subscribe, all of that sort of stuff to my channel. Like, this is the first time I've been on in ages and ages and ages on my own damn channel. But what we really need you to do is get the watch hours over on the transpositions going, so that we can keep on keeping on. And I think we're doing really great work. And Ember, you just fucking knocked it out of the park. You did.
I get a little aggressive sometimes.
Well, just really great questions, really great initiative, and I think we did it. I think all of us did it professionally. Run by the edits, ask Freedom from Religion Foundation for comment. All the things. We're trying to do right by the whole thing.
Yeah.
And
about the only person we didn't ask was Jerry. And I don't really want to talk to Jerry.
I don't care about Coin. I don't care about Coin because he doesn't care about me. He didn't care about any of us. I mean, it was a hit piece on the entire community. Publishing that shit. That was shit.
Mm-hmm. And he ought to know it. He maybe so far gone he doesn't, but he ought to.
Up every single shit talking point that's come out of the gender crit community from Janice Raymond on, almost. And that's a long time. 1979 was a while ago. And this is the thing that from someone who's been around a while, it's like, damn it, none of this shit's new. It's just not new. And just really would like to see somebody shut him up. Oh, look. 100% of our poll respondents are saying they need a pill and a pecker.
Hell yeah, more gender affirming care. Speaking of which, I got an interesting email yesterday, and I know it's just about time to go to Granny's, but it's a random thing, so I'll throw it out there. I got an email from, as you probably know, but some people may not, because of my work schedule, I can't get to a physical clinic while they're open. So I have to get my gender affirming care through telemedicine, and I go through Folks, Folx. Well, I don't know if they saw our show or what the deal is, but they sent me an email inviting me to be a brand ambassador. They don't want to sponsor my channel, but I don't know what it means. They said they'll if I'm interested, they'll send follow-up information in a few days or weeks or something, but could be fun. I don't know. maybe they'll send me some fucking discount meds.
So I'm wearing this shirt. I don't know if you can see that says M42X and Ranger on it. The guy who owned the boat, God rest his soul, has passed away, was the CEO of Bristol Myers Squibb. Retired, you know. He passed away at the ripe old age of 86. He was still sailing. You know.
Nice.
A really remarkable human being, a wonderful human being who, you know, hated the pharmaceutical industry, but it paid the bills, you know, handsomely.
Yeah, it really did. I've delivered to one of their facilities in Syracuse, and well, they got bought out, and then that company got bought out. So it's changed names a couple of times, but it's the same facility. And
see, I'm sitting on the deck of that boat now. See, look at that. That is the Mighty Ranger. She's along. She got sold out at the. This is behind me at Southwest Harbor. This is Southwest Harbor, right at the dock. And she got sold off the island down to, I think, down to the Vineyard. Somebody from the Vineyard bought the boat and undid all of the hot racing adaptations for it. And which is okay. I mean, it was a very, very good racing boat with everything that everything we did to it. But that's not the boat wasn't really built for that. It wasn't purpose built. You know, it has very, very classic look, classic lines, and it's really kind of a oversized day sailor that costs a shit ton of money.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, all right. So I think we're going to wrap it up here, and let's just take a look into this poll. We got, oh my goodness, what do we got going on here? I got to see where the poll is at.
3 need pills, and 1 no.
Yeah. Need a pill and a pecker is beaten out over no. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to end the poll unless I'm going to give like maybe 10 seconds more. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. End poll. So I think we have, we've determined that. And Godless Granny, the link to Godless Granny's stream is just above here in the side chat. So we'll see you all over there. And thanks for coming. Like, share, subscribe, all of that happy horse shit. Follow me on Blue Sky. Follow Ember where her stuff is. If you're not subscribed to Ember's channel, what the hell's wrong with you? And thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you again somewhere. We'll see you around, see you in the funny papers. Have a great time. I'm gonna hit the button.
Buttons.